is Trekland HQ version 2, and we are live. Caught 'em hate-handed, Star Trek. Yep, today on episode 440 of Trekland Tuesdays, live with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, coming at you here from the heart of Trekland through all things Portal 47, and yes, TreklandTreks.com for your own unique away mission to actual Star Trek filming location sites, your choice, customized for you, with me holding your hand, leading the way throughout Southern California. Get with me now on a TreklandTreks.com. Or if you want to supersize that, this is the year of the 60th anniversary and the 60th anniversary tour, back from Geek Nation Tours after 10 years with me in the lead the week before Vegas Con. GeekNationTours.com. You want to check it out. Talk to Terrace. See what we're up to with this time. So many stars and friends of Trek with us. You want to see about that. Hey, yes. Are you ready for some sanity, clarity, and a bigger picture in all things Star Trek? Well, welcome back to a Tuesday here. Watching. Yes, we've got YouTube back. Turned out there was a little toggle switch that got turned the wrong way the whole time. So I'm glad to be back here with us live as the chat folks jump in. And look, if you are new to TTL, jump in. Our TTLers are a great group when you're in the community. Look, you can lurk if you want to. That's fine. You want to feel your way here. That's great. But we've got a great bunch of folks in the chat room. You want to let us know where you're coming from. Let us know how's the weather where you are. How's the Trek where you are. We'll have a great time. Now, if you are new to Tuesday's Trek, you should know a couple things. One, I'm going to be doing a soapbox today. So I've got and it's going to be kind of brief, I think, and to the point. And then we will hit to the chat. So just because I'm not paying attention to the chatters up front does not mean we even back scroll and go back and look at it. So that's coming. Yeah, I'll take a micro break and then we'll get into the chat after I finish my theme for today, which maybe you can figure out what it is. And then when you are in chat, just to know, please come over. Please come over on YouTube. The metrics are better and you're going to see all the comments. I go ahead and stay multi-streamy. Yes, we're on Twitch and you'll see everything there. If you're on Facebook, you're only going to see the Facebook comments. You'll wonder what everyone on YouTube is talking about. Who are these people saying? What are you pulling up here, Larry? Just go to YouTube. YouTube is also a little bit more monetized. And if you see fit, I love it if you can throw a little bit of silver my way. We have a very simple monetizing system here. It's kind of humble. And we have our Patreon to do that. And I'll mention all of them in a little bit. But most of all, when you're in the chat, yes, sound off. I will get around back to it, I hope. But if you're not here with us live, if you're watching this later on YouTube, join the commentary. Throw in comments. I think this might stir up a hornet's nest, or at least stir some strong feelings. And I am tired of today's topic being this black and white issue when it should be very nuanced. But the world wants it to be black and white because that's how you make money. That's how you make money and affect people. Nuance is not very sexy, but it's where the world lives. The world lives in the gray, although we stretch to our black and white poles if we'd like to, but that's not really the way the world works, especially in pop culture. Okay, I'm leaning into it, but what I'm saying is if you're watching us live, that's great. If you're watching us later, please be part of the conversation even now. In fact, I'm just going to say it. This is why this topic, what happened, what I'm talking about today, broke just as we were finishing up last week. I had guests last week. As I was getting off, somebody may have even mentioned it in the comments in passing. But, Maya Angelou, I think it was, said, when they tell you who they are, believe them. And boy, if that wasn't a slogan for the ages we have right now. But here in our little Pollyanna corner of pop culture, where the real world can just pass us by and has no effect on anything happening here in our little Star Trek world in Trekland, or whatever little corner of it you have, corporate or fanish, licensee, whatever. But when something like this happens, after a topic, after an issue, after a thing has been out there in the zeitgeist, in the landscape, for us, it'll be 9 years. We are right about 9 years of this. Yeah. A week ago today, my friend Sean Farrick at Trek Culture, where I'm now part of the family, by the way. We've got one piece up. There's more on the way, gang. Yes, Sean at Trek Culture messaged me about this as he was posting his own. And I popped over as soon as I got out of Tuesday Live and was both angry and incredulous and laughing. Do you know what I'm talking about? We made a splash of this that day and the next day, and people on our channels saw. Other people, Dayton picked it up too. I don't know how much wider a smattering it got, and that is why I wanted to devote today's theme topic so it would be preserved on YouTube, so it's out there in the algorithm, which is the actual God that we worship these days, apparently. Yeah. Did any of you happen to catch on your own or through someone putting it in your face this little gem, completely innocuous? Of all the controversial places to find this, it was on LinkedIn. The professional, career-minded board that has inched its way to becoming social media, but originally was just there just to help people find jobs and advertise for jobs and talk about careers and industries. Boring. Well, take a look at this. This was an actual position ad, like you will find all through LinkedIn, from the people at Giant Freaking Robot, GFR, which is a news site, which is a pop culture, like sci-fi fantasy media news site, which has articles. They may have podcasts or associated podcasts, but I think of them mainly as a newsprint site, print news. And they're doing a job listing here. Can you see this? Can you read this? They're advertising for Star Trek Academy haters. It's right there. You cannot make this up. This is not The Onion. Hate Starfleet Academy? Have a wealth of geek knowledge? In other words, evil genius? Do you know physics and quantum theory but want to take over the world? Experience writing online news and commentary articles? You may be exactly who we need. The legendary, still totally independent geek opinion site, Giant Freaking Robot, still totally independent, is looking for a very limited number of highly skilled freelance article writers with fearless abilities. If that's you, reach out. Must hate Starfleet Academy. Must be a citizen of the USA. Experience requires include links to published samples of your past work. And be authorized to work in the US. When they tell you who they are, believe them. Yeah. That's a thing. Some of my posts the last week, I actually had the link. You have to go to the posting sections of LinkedIn. So many things. Ever since Gamergate, this wrestling with the idea that social media, which used to be, you could talk to grandma or the people in your high school graduating class across the country, and it was so awesome, and it was free. How are they ever going to make their money back on this thing? Well, now we know. Thanks to certain, big political events piled on top of social media. The last 10 years, we have gradually been becoming used to wrestling with the implications and the functionality of algorithms applied to social media, to online posting. We now know exactly how people make their money. We also know exactly why people want to pay money for online access, in the most innocent way of saying, to make a splash, to go viral, because you can poison minds with all kinds of asinine, unfounded quackery of a scientific or political or social kind. And when we all live in our little silos around the world, we know who the 8 people down the road are. We know who our 8 bar buddies are. We know how the 20 people in our local Star Trek club are. We may even know who the 50 people on our Facebook group page are. But when you're talking about the worldwide, oh yes, it is ripe for takeover. Even if that good friend who's trying to convince you of their position, is Quantum Mashup 9276582. Such a personal name, whose account was started a week ago Thursday, and they have 2 followers. And yet they're out there pounding the pulpit. Okay. We've had to get used to this whole 10 years, this whole change in the way we live life. And if only it was about how we experience Star Trek, or try not to experience it or react away from. But unfortunately, this corrodes every part of life. And unfortunately, still has some usable positive aspects. It's just that, yes, the money was invested for a reason. We live in the information age. Not our information for us, our information. It's the data is money age. Yeah. They want your ID. They want your stats. They want to sell the data to whoever, politicians, to corporations, whatever. And that's a big topic. And we've been nibbling around the edges of this for ages. What concerns us here is, ever since the beginning of Discovery, why has Star Trek Online felt so different? Is it really that bad? What I would say now is we had a return of this for the start of Starfleet Academy. Being walloped again for the start of Starfleet Academy made some of us realize how everything had kind of gone to sleep after the 2 women of color in the lead of a Star Trek. Those moments in 2017, shit still happened through Picard, through even Strange New Worlds, right? Lower Decks, Prodigy, even the 2 animateds. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Every step of the way, there was always kerfluffle, would be the polite word, online. And once again, let me just be real clear here. I'm not talking about honest critique. I'm not talking about honest discussion. I'm not talking about honest debate. That's part of being a fan. I don't care if you're a fan of a sports team, you're a fan of a franchise, you're a fan of an actor or a singer or a band. That's part of being a fan. I'm talking about this roller coaster, sledgehammer, not human, just pile driving that we have seen. And, it's like, this is something that both sides are guilty of. And I think it's like a feeling of these insane verbs in headlines: destroys, X destroys B. And you find out that somebody got off a good snarky comment on them on a panel show, right? These extreme verbs and adjectives that just pump up. Everything has to be like a stupid overblown WWE or WWF or WW whatever, WWW anymore headline. And they're just exhausting, especially when it's something that doesn't need to be exhausting. The appeal used to be that it was the escape, right? And what's shocking about the return of Academy, aside from the fact that we've gone back here, is it made me realize how quiet the hater world online had been. So is it a backhanded compliment that, oh, congratulations, Star Trek, you're big enough to cross the threshold of the hater defensive perimeter? And when I say hater, I mean, hi, I really couldn't give a flying frick, but I can make money on this. If I can divide and stir enough people up, we'll get clickbait mania. And yeah, the people that live on the pennies do that. Now, I still think I did, look, no tinfoil here. I still think there's interests in the world that are interested in stirring up cultures around the world, not having anything be settled and cozy and happy. There are people, without getting ridiculous, there are interests that make money and or power making money by having society not be happy and settled and progressive and moving on. And why just limit that to, say, politics and the military when you can attack people, when you can unsettle people in their livelihoods or in their hobbies, their fandoms? Why stop there? And that's where we've been since Gamergate. So, but time is money. Money's time. We want Star Trek to be big and relevant again, and this is just part of the price you pay. You're gonna cross the threshold of the rage baiters, the people who make money on the clicks, and then ripple effects all the way down the line. So, yay, Star Trek is relevant enough again to bring all this back. Now, look, I've talked about all this off and on. And yes, as I've seen some people say, can we just talk about the shows? Do we have to talk about all this? I come to Star Trek to escape all this crap. I know. But then at the same time, there's so many fans who are blindsided by this. And look, as I preach all the time, online fandom is not all fandom. Thank Kalis. Thank the prophets that online fandom is not all fandom. People have real lives to live, and they come home to sit down for Star Trek, old or new, to get away, to escape, to dream of the world they're obviously not living in every day, of the universe. And sometimes, more and more, a lot of them come home to Star Trek. They go to work, they make the money, they raise the kids, and they're also out trying to be a citizen activist, which i.e. is called being a citizen in the best way. And they have to come home and take a break and recharge a little bit from that. So yeah, Star Trek is our escape, but it's also our recharge, it's our refuge, and it's our inspiration. It's been that way since 1966, kids. And if that ain't woke, I don't know what is. And even having that silly debate is part of this too. Now, look, again, I encountered my first politically conservative Star Trek fans in the Reagan era. I had that first inkling of, I'm sorry, did we watch the same show? But hey, it was just talk. It was harmless. Let people go pew pew and wear the bling and get off. Inaccurate probably, but that's fine. That's fine. It's all innocent. It's fandom. We're all one big happy fleet, right? Idic. By the way, the newer generations that say IDIC, that's exhausting, kids. It's idic. They said idic on the show in the original series. It's idic, okay? Just same way that it's TOS, not toss. It's one or the other. Anyway. We have been speculating about this metric, about what's behind the rage bait, clickbait, all of it, whatever the buzzword is, we've tried to get our arms around this in the bigger world, as well as right here in downtown Star Trek world. That is why what happened last week is so amazing. Now, look, we all know the shithole websites that come on. There's no pretense of journalism. There's no pretense of real opinionating, because real journalism and real even opinion column would be like you talking to your friends, debating the fine points. Look, I love this. Shout out to our burgeoning Trekophiles community over on the Roddenberry Mission Log Patreon. It's $1 a month, gang. Please go join. You get access to all the Roddenberry shows, fandom support groups, and even the online Discord show hours that different fans have for things beyond Star Trek. It's a lot of fun. We finally have a community for the Trek Files over there, my podcast from Roddenberry. with a guest, and we dive in. It's the only podcast with paperwork, with homework. And I'm very proud of that. Ending the 14th season, we'll be back with our 15th season. We've got an awesome guest star to start off a piece I've been wanting to do for ages. With the right guest, it's going to make a splash, I think. But we're on hiatus right now. Still going on with our every other Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific Trekophiles Tonight meetup. And last night had two women talking about Academy who generally enjoyed it. One of them thought the whole show was pretty good. Her biggest critique was she thought that Caleb was miscast. I know, like the kid, like Santos, but thought he was Sandro. I'm sorry, loved Sandro, but just thought he was miscast in the role. But loved Holly and Paul Giamatti. Another person of the same age and gender and generation totally loved him, loved Sandro, but could not stand Holly or Paul Giamatti. Now look, otherwise they would be in the same demo, but different. And that's fine. We had a civil discussion. It was no big deal. In fact, we're at the point now where people have to thank each other for not coming after them with a pickaxe, even on Zoom live. Well, thank you that we can have this civil discussion. When did we used to have to thank each other for having a civil discussion? It was just kind of assumed, whether we were at the bar or the club meeting room or online. Well, that's the world we're in. But that just goes to show you that's normal. That's the range of opinions people are going to have. And they're all valid, and they're all real humans doing it. And as far as I know, neither one of those ladies was in it for the bucks. Neither one of them were collecting pennies. Partly they weren't going to get it because they weren't nearly rageful enough. Okay. I say all this because we've been aware, as we've slowly grappled with how basically algorithms online, from something as simple as posts and chat responses in social media threads about sci-fi franchises, all the way to, politics and sports and I don't know anything else. Social media, high school kids committing suicide over the pressures brought on by the raging. We've learned what algorithms do, all the way to all the AI all the AI computers turn loose on themselves and their audiences, and they all inevitably either commit M5 suicide, or they call for the urging of that, or they all go back to the darkest recesses of where humanity has been. It's just a negative. The algorithm is, I call it a hate magnet. It's just a negativity magnet. Left alone, it's the why do we buy newspapers with bad news, not good news in them? It's the vast majority of the time, which means why do we not stop and slow down on a highway to look at a ditch with no wreck in it? Why do we rubberneck? Why do we looky-loo at wrecks? We can't help it. I mean, I've trained myself to ignore all wrecks unless there's some impending danger to me on the highway. I see one and I go, not going to be a statistic, not going to be a statistic. No one's counting, but in my mind, that's where I am. It blindsided us. And I've said this before. I compare it to the impact of the A-bomb. Watch The Atomic Cafe, the documentary that had such an impact on me, even though I didn't realize it for years exactly how. But the first 3, 4, 5 years until Russia got the A-bomb, atomic was the adjective for cool and modern and hot and spacey and future leaning. Pop culture, movies, songs, cartoons, advertising art. And eventually the impact of, the A-bomb, and especially when we could have, the long saga of the public's interrelationship with atomic energy, atomic bombs and atomic energy both, and how it evolved from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and how we kind of put it on the shelf now. There'd have to be an update to come back around to it now. I've thought that the power of social media, fueled by the algorithms, is kind of the same way. I thought the first 10 years, the last half of the aughts, the first part of the teen, that 10, 12 years was kind of like the honeymoon period. And then, yeah, starting about 2016, yeah, starting with Gamergate, and then the things that were so cool to be part of, Twitter and Facebook. And oh my God, now how they're dripping with toxins, and like every post is like little daggers, and they might even be micro aimed at you. Oh, but now there's an army of daggers. There's an army of poison daggers out there. And now it's affecting policy, electing people, kicking nations out of groups, and something has been soured and poisoned and da-da-da-da. And it took 10 years. And now we have the documentaries. Now we know, follow the money, good old advice, and we know what's going on. But it's still kind of this explain the algorithm, like how do you explain how in the old days it was, how does a TV work? How does television work? How does that picture come on my tube from something from LA or New York, or, live from Poughkeepsie? How does that happen? Or live from space? It takes a while for the layman, for the knowledge to come down. And we're kind of there. Gang, I'm saying all this to get back to the amazeballs of this ad. On one hand, we have speculated what's going on with these sites that we've known. I don't want to give it any more credence aside from just to know that's where it is. But we all know. And those of us who know, and there's thousands, hopefully millions, a lot of you in the chat today, and I can't wait to see what we know about those sites. And that if you want anything halfway level, even a mix, I'm not talking Pollyanna, I'm not talking about and I've seen people do this, the 180, where everything is perfect, everything is cool, and people there try to have nuanced discussions, and they get shut down for not being Pollyanna perfect, purebred supporter enough. Now, those didn't exist until they felt like they had to defend against the extreme the other way. So one extreme leads to an opposite, unfortunately. The vast middle, that's where you have trouble. When your middle, will the middle hold? Will the center hold? When it gets chipped away by the two extremes, even if one feels like they're on a higher road than the other, if one is just fighting back against the bully or the abusive husband, and it's the one that does the murder or the damage and gets in trouble, they were righting a wrong. How far does righting a wrong with a wrong go if that's your only option left? And I'm sorry I went there. Pull that back, and that's where we are now. And it has been. And, for the most part, you can kind of head down the middle. I will quasi defend the burned defending themselves so vociferously, where they have no room for. It's the same thing during the Me Too. There were a whole spectrum of Me Too offenders. You had the Harvey Weinsteins all the way to some of the, a couple of them that were like bad jokes gone bad. They weren't all the same, but they all got branded the same. But in the heat of that moment of I say vengeance, of justice finally being metered out in a public way, things being unearthed that had been buried and stomped over for so long, you couldn't get in the way of the righteous anger finally being unleashed. Eventually things will cool down where you can say, yes, thou shalt not kill. It's kind of biblical. It's kind of ancient. Where would civilization be if we just randomly could kill each other and there was no, right? It would be chaos. Something would eventually happen. However, killing someone is not, we have a whole list of things here. We go all the way from first degree capital murder to, accidental second degree murder or negligent homicide. We have self-defense. We have, whatever you think of it or not, this is a state with the death penalty and you're the guy throwing the switch or doing the injection. Or we have people that wear uniforms that we pay to hopefully shoot the real bad guys or stop them without shooting. Or we have pay people to be in a uniform to go defend the country. And hopefully defending the country is all they're doing, not stirring shit up somewhere else on behalf of somebody. Point here being is that there's not a one size fits all for killing someone else, as atrocious as that is. And yeah, when it's self-defense, that's about as honorable as the one. It could still be traumatizing. And that's where the Me Too folks wound up. But in the moment, you couldn't go there. You had to let that play out, even while realizing, well, if I say something here, differentiation and nuance, there's a time for it and there's a time for not. So we've been sitting here with our little watered down version of watching what's played out on social media. And in Trek world, watching it come roaring full back since January, since December, since the trailers came out for Starfleet Academy. Everything from why is that Klingon so soft and wearing a skirt? Why is it holding hands? To why does she curl up in the chair? Why? And sometimes you just want to go, really? Really? Sometimes you want to say you're getting all these things from a 2-second clip in a promotional feature that lasts 30 seconds, and you're going to make these big, broad statements about the whole show. Most of all, the damage comes from preemptive discouragement, because we know even when most of that is hyper propelled, people have their opinions. But when it's so hyper propelled that it feels like it's suffocating us in the columns and the pages that we go to, you have two choices. Either the first impulse, because we're all nice and innocent, is, my God, is that really the way most people think? All of my pages, all of my threads, all of my columns, all of my channels are just drowning in this. It's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. Tons of the innocent flock, all the armchair fans out there go, wow, I guess I shouldn't even mess with this. How many innocents are affected by this? The certain block of folks is going to trudge, and at the worst, it's going to be, oh God, is it going to be another Section 31? Is it going to be another well-intended but misfire? And of course, it's not. It's not. It's completely critique worthy. I've been doing it all year. Apparently now hundreds of people are reviewing Star Trek Academy. Cool. Welcome in, as long as they're legit, as long as they don't have an agenda, which is why this was such a firebomb. This is why it was such a bombshell. Oh, look, they're actually hiring just for hate. Well, if the show was truly horrendous, why would you have to advertise for hater writers? I mean, just think about that. Why do you have to go after something that apparently you're not able to get from just walking in the door virtually? It's so telling. There's a narrative, and I know now I'm going to put you to sleep because I'm going to sound like a news channel, but there's a narrative that they want to go with, and they're going to hire just for that, which tells you two or three things. A, it must be a fake narrative because those people aren't naturally coming in the door. And B, oh, look, we always knew you had a narrative. You just proven it. And C, in the old days, we'd say the gall of these people. They're just there on how hard was that to find? It immediately went out. Now, I know that not everyone saw it. That's why, yes, I'm doing the title today to get this out there. And it was up for days. I checked a couple of days ago. It was still up. Now, here's a funny thing. On that website, I saw a nuanced review of the finale episode. Had some critiques, had some praises. Is that writer going to get paid? I don't know if this, I don't care about the history of the ownership of the site. I understand that it's not it's not the only one. It makes me wonder if some of the other sites, who I'm not going to mention, but if they do the same thing, if they just have their buddies and friends that they know will write that way, and not to say that people don't earnest. Look, I know folks I've known for 5-10 years, some of them here in SoCal, who earnestly, this is their mindset. This is not about clickbaits and just taking advantage of, rage baiting because they just want to make the clicks and get the cash. They actually sincerely have cultural issues and culture war issues. And it slid that way, and partly because, I guess it's the style of the time. But they're still human beings, and I know them. It's just like I always say, when you've got your bar buddy, when you've got your club of buddies, and there's that one that's cantankerous. That's the nice word for it, right? And always has the contrary opinion, the contrarian. But dadgummit, it's just good old Billy. It's just good old Janie. And we know that's just the way they are. Well, when it's live, it's one thing. And when Billy or Janie crosses the line, everybody else can go, really? Really, dude? Really, dudette? When you're millions of people all online anonymous to each other, with illustrious handle names like, Smash Mushroom 29746257824, those noble public speakers and thinkers, it takes on a different tone. So thank you, GFR, for posting and being so honest and being so blatantly clueless, arrogant, that you don't even know or care that you're on good old public LinkedIn and someone's going to find this and come across it and think, oh, look, it's not as if we needed proof that that's what's going on. It's just that it was so public. But most of all, all this to do, it's almost a little, it's like so much going on in the world. You're like, I knew this entity was hateful, was wrong-headed, had motivations far beyond any kind of truth and honesty. But when you find out at the same time, below all that, they're just so stupid and clueless. So this ad has been, I don't know that the interwebs have melted down talking about this, but I know in some quarters it's been out there. And somebody correct me, I didn't look right before I went on, which I should have. But it was still up a day or two ago after this first spike of conversation and finger pointing came out. And again, this is not about having the opinion. It's about skewing your style. No one's holding them up for Pulitzer Prizes. That's not what this is about. What this is really doing, it's like one of those things. You have to validate the stereotype. I yell at different people who are wrongly boxed into stereotypes, but then when they prove the stereotype, I just want to shake them. Say, why do you want to add to your stereotype? I'm not wasting my energy to shake whoever posted that ad. It's confirmation. And look, that's not the whole internet. That's one site. I get it. But if this is what's happening at one site, how many more do you think are basically in the same way? I've wondered. I'll read some Trek that the person looks like they know what they're doing. It's the classic comic book superhero, bad, super genius, evil genius. It's Pinky and the Brain. It's like, how brilliant are you, but you're using your knowledge for evil and not for good or for a paycheck. I'm just a hired gun. And they take their wonderful Star Trek knowledge and twist it to get a paycheck writing for this site. And, when someone's young and they're trying to get their pennies together, I guess there's one level where you say, I can't blame them. Or, they're just trying to make a buck, get off their back. Okay. And maybe within a year or two, they go back and maybe they're under a pen name. Maybe in a couple of years, they scrub their resume of any time that they worked at that site or for that organization. I don't know. I haven't sat down. That would be an interesting study to go back 10 years, see who wrote for these obviously skewed and bent out of shape websites, and then track to see what they did. Did they go mainstream? Did they go into perfectly presentable journalism? Which is doing a thing, because, journalism as a career right now is pretty much shit for brains dead. Thank you, world. Legitimate, actual journalism, and that's part of what's going on here too. People are just trying to, if they're a writer and they're halfway intelligent, they're trying to make a living. So there's part of that going on here too, from the big world down to our little microcosm of Trek. I just want to make sure that this little moment of awareness does not get lost in the shuffle, and B, that we actually sit and take and reflect on a moment of what's going on here on several levels. Now, we still had the finale of Academy, and my second opinion is up, and lots of other people's review shows are up, and the show is one thing, and the idea that now we have to wait until July for Strange New Worlds season 4, even though I kept saying season 5, season 4. We have 6 months of no fresh Trek. And yes, I'm old enough to remember 5 years ago when we were whipsawed with so much Trek because of the old got to keep it coming or else they'll churn, they'll unsubscribe the channel. And that model's out the window now as we look for the next thing. So I know that rightfully the finale of Academy is out there. I also know that, algorithms or not, I see so many fans. It's almost like they're coming up out of the cellar after the tornado, or they're coming up out of the rubble after the earthquake and going, oh, well, actually, just that one building fell down. It wasn't so bad. People are coming out of the rubble to watch Academy, watch the whole season, or now that it's out, they're going to binge, they're going to buy Paramount Plus for 1 month and watch all the shows, if they're not ripping it already, and watch it all. And right now is when that, oh, this wasn't the end of the world as we know it. This didn't cause the fall of Western civilization. There's going to be all this, about that attitude. That, meanwhile, do you think all the drowners are hanging around Star Trek? Hell no. Do you think they'll come back for Strange New Season 4? Maybe some, because of the stir up last year that was legitimate, I think, that the showrunners are reacting to. I still want to see about the timeline for that, because I think they had to start mapping out this season before they saw the real world reaction, the too many swings reaction to season 3. But I digress. That's for down the road. Right now, it's amazing watching fandom come out of their storm cellars to say, oh, that wasn't so bad. But who cares? Because in the moment, the snake oil salesman tricked you into reading all of that then. And as much as I think a lot of you folks here today and a lot of folks around the world, even if you know what you're getting into, if you're going to go to that site and read something, how many in Portal, on Trekland Tuesdays, my old Facebook page, everywhere, innocent people pop up and say, oh my God, someone there to say, that's XYZ site. That's abc.com. No, sorry, that's a network. That's klm.com. Oh, that's an airline. Damn it. That's uvw.com. You do know about them, right? They did tell you about the Ferengi at the Academy, right? Now, wait a minute. Those are living species beings who deserve respect. This is a corporate entity, which necessarily does not. I'm just saying that it was just shocking, as much as a lot of us have tried to saddle up and armor up against those kind of obvious takes. Well, look where it's from. It's obvious. So many fans do not and have not and are not aware of any of this. And those kinds of bombastic campaigns that we saw starting in December and January do affect a lot of folks who'll never see me. I met those folks on the cruise. They don't hang out online. And that's what I always say. But in the quiet of their living room, of their bedroom, in the quiet of wherever they're watching their phone or not watching their phone, that will affect their choices and their enjoyment of Trek. And maybe they don't come back for you. It was hard enough people trying to watch DS9 and Voyage, especially DS9, back in the day, getting discouraged and then having to wait for the world to change 20 years later, 30 years later, and be able to binge in order. And their viewpoint is completely different. I'm sorry, ahead of your time, DS9. So, the viewpoint in all this is shifting constantly, especially these days. It feels like there's a new thing every 6 months. Again, this was a rare moment when we actually got to see, it wasn't just the sausage being made, the sausage being poisoned by the serial killer before he unleashes it on an unsuspecting crowd at the fair. That's a tortured metaphor, but I don't know. What else do you call it? Just amazing. And the fact that they apparently didn't care and still don't just kind of tells you all you need to know. Maybe the people that placed that ad have no clue that at least a certain percentage of us have been talking about it. Yes, it's the same week that people are all talking about the finale episode, but still, it's out there. The gall is gallless. That's part of the problem. It seems to be a big fad these days, having no clue and no shame. Have you no, what is the line from the McCarthy hearings? Have you no decency, sir? At long last, have you no decency? Well, when they tell you who they are, believe them. And gang, I am so glad that YouTube seems to be working today. All right. I'm going to be jumping into the chat here after a micro break. But first, I got to say, thank you all for being here for the Tuesday. Those of you who make it sometimes, those of you who make it, especially when the YouTube is working. That's great. And I want to give a shout out to these folks. And looky here, this is my Patreon group. It's very simple. It's very low key, but I still love to thank everybody on the TTL Club. That means Chuck A., James Kerwin, Diana Hopkins, Halbert Gunnjonson, Lawrence Todd, Chris Jiggins, Mitch Keith, Keith Rombach, J.R. Poole, Pranakasha Productions, Comedy Forecast, and Andrew Dzimski. And among our live wires, finally, I get to say hello to Joshua Reeve. Thank you, Joshua, for jumping aboard. Of course, along with Gary Williams, Robert McLean, Byron Bailey, David Gadd, MJ Frug, Chris Garris, Brandon Coles, Dave Gregory, Jesse at Crusher Convo, Donna S. Runyon, and Casey Shafsky. Yep, I have a very simple Patreon. It's just social media addresses. That's all it is. That's how simple it is. It's just $5, $10 a month. Patreon.com/Trekland Live for the shout out. And I know $10 folk, including a couple that have just dropped off. I owe you so much. We're going to get on it. Because for one thing, the Trek Files is on hiatus, although there's 14 seasons, 24 episodes apiece, half hours. A lot of good folks in that, all good content, pages, files, memos from the Roddenberry archives with actual real-world guests from the Trek family professionally, from the industry professionally, people from Star Trek history. It's the Trek Files. Yeah, we still have the Facebook. We still have Roddenberry, podcast Roddenberry.com. What you need to do to know is thetrekfiles.com is our memory alpha space with the player, with the document, and with the hot links right there. And you also need to know My Patreon is cool, but there is a mission log Roddenberry Patreon that gets you to the Discord, and that is where we have the community space, especially dedicated. Way better than Facebook was ever able to be. And we host our show there our meetup every other Monday. We just did it this week, so it'll be in 2 weeks, Mondays, 4 p.m. Pacific. Trekophiles tonight. Trekophiles spelled with an F. Yeah. Otherwise, around the socials, now it's your turn. At Larry Nemechek on the Twitter, on the Blue Sky. It's Larry's Trekland on Instagram, on Facebook, and YouTube. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet on YouTube, please do ring the bell, do all the things, and please share us around. Our subscribers are starting to grow, probably because of all the new second opinions for Academy, but that's going to slough off here. I've got to say again that I am really proud. I don't have anything fancy here for it. I'm part of the Trek Culture family. In fact, I'm like the West Coast Trek Culture family. We're going to be gearing that up. Some more news to come down the road. But for right now, I'm going to be contributing pieces, maybe occasionally bopping in with Sean and Ellie and Tom and the rest of the gang here. Bree is also in the U.S. We have some plans coming. I have some simple video topics. If you saw the Vasquez Rocks one, I'd love for you to go over and comment there. If you were ever on a Trekland Treks tour or the Geek Nation Tours big tour, I'd love for you to go over to the video and just talk about what it was like to be there. You don't have to mention it in the tours at all, even. It'd be nice. And once again, I say all this to say that, to remember that for the first time in 10 years, we're back with a big multi-day exploring Trek sites, Hollywood to STLV. It's July 30th, August 3rd. All you need to know is, look, just talk to Terrace about it. We're going to have those folks with us. By the way, this guy down here, where is he? Bobby Clark. What a great guy. What an old desert rat of a stuntman. If you've met and talked to Bobby at a con, you're awesome. You're lucky. Bobby was not on the cruise. And people were a little concerned, including moi. I called Bobby and his wife, Judy. It turns out that he had kidney stone surgery and could not make the cruise. And he is very much looking forward to being with everybody at Vegas. And assuming that the tour makes, because we need a few more folks to jump in, it's not very big. We cap it at 20 people. So it's a great way the tour is a great way to get to Vegas. If you're traveling alone, if you're traveling in from overseas, and yes, I know that seems like a lot at the moment. We're hoping that Star Trek's 60th birthday party and the 40th for Star Trek 4 and the 30th for First Contact and the 25th for Enterprise. And there's a couple more that I'm not even thinking about. The 30th anniversary of Trials and Tribulations. The 30th anniversary of the 30th anniversary. And yeah, flashback. We're hoping there's not too much of a wet blanket put over the party this year from all the stupid stuff going on in the world. But if you are over and you've got the wherewithal, the big tour is a great way to get introduced to other fans on your way into Vegas. All that to say that, yeah, Bobby is looking forward to being at Vegas. He's looking forward to being with our group when we stop by Vasquez and hear him tell you in person on the spot how wacky and crazy and wonderful and goofy filming the Gorn fight was those days. And of course, as I always say, Vasquez is way more than the Gorn fight on top of all that. So, thank you, everybody, for being around for another Tuesday. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Appreciate the chat, which we're about to dive into. But if you're watching later on YouTube, please, maybe you can join us sometime on a Tuesday afternoon. I do it this time of day just so we have folks from around the world who can join us. It's a wonderful eye on global fandom, not just sometimes American fandom with the blinders on, maybe not intentionally, just experientially, just reminding us how global Star Trek is. And how everybody gets Trek in their own different ways, country by country sometimes, and has an interesting perspective on what Americans have always thought as the global franchise. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for being here today, leaving us on YouTube right now. Again, leave a comment, like and subscribe, do all the things. Leave a comment, and maybe we'll see you live sometime at 1-ish Pacific Tuesdays, 4-ish Eastern. And normally, in normal times, that would be 8 hours difference. It would normally be 9 hours UK-ish and 10 hours Central European. And we've got all those folks represented in the chat here, all right? All right, everybody. I'm saying, if I'm leaving you right now, I'm just reminding, please stay healthy, do all the things, stay awoke, check the sources. If ever there was a day to say that one, today's the day. And that ramifies onto everything from race and social culture to politics and to sports and pop culture. Who knew? Trek well, everybody. Okay, I'm so glad we have YouTube. I feel so stupid for that happening. I'm mystified, but I think we've got everybody. And let's get into some questions. So yeah, Duralta, what a simple thing to have things just work the way they're supposed to. Somehow the YouTube designator got clicked from public to private. And it recorded, it just didn't go live. The first week it didn't record, though, which I'm not even going to go there. Hey, Brandon, I think that's you. And yes, Captain Calvin from Twitch too. Well, Twitch has never been a problem. Oh, hi, Lori. Hey, a first timer. Good to have you with us. Yay, yay, yay. Hope you enjoy it. Spout off whenever you can. Thank you, Brandon. Well, thanks everybody on YouTube for adding to the YouTube numbers. I mean, it's nickels and dimes for me, but there you go. Happy Herman's Day back at you, Sean. Absolutely. Yeah, everybody take 10 minutes just to celebrate something simple like YouTube working again. There we go. Hey, Sean, is it just you, or did SFA completely taper off near the end? The finale didn't stick the landing and went for a universe-ending dilemma when it should have been more of a message of a man type. I think that's where, if we can have thoughtful conversations, I think that's something. Now, it felt normal, and I didn't think of it as an end. I don't know. People were complaining. Speaking of Trek culture, I have an early piece coming on this. People were complaining. And if you saw Tuesdays, I put my toe into this. Maybe I put a few toes into this one. That people were complaining that a pirate couldn't possibly have surrounded the Federation with a death grip like that. How did that happen? And I kind of cut all that down to size. So what I'm trying to say here is I don't think it was like a universe-ending cataclysm type thing. But there you go. Oh. So I'm going to talk more about this in the future. But as far as this arcing of the modern series trying to end, I think some of this was diluted back, best of both worlds, pretty universe threatening, because if Picard's assimilated and then Earth is next, and then that's all she wrote. Kind of the basic Star Trek and sci-fi trope, Earth conquered. But I think having it be a cliffhanger and having it diluted over the summer, the impact sat there, and it wasn't just bang, bang, even a week apart, much less happening at all. I don't know. And then the Klingon Civil War and time-altering time travel, all of that. Lore hooking up with the Borgs. So I never thought about it being a universe-ending dilemma. I mean, it was, but it never felt like the answer was too far distant. I don't know. But we're going to marinate in that. The thing is, we're going to marinate intelligently and honestly, right? Hi. Tom Ubanian. Tom Ubanian. Hey, they're back at you. Learned about you from your interview with Jim Johnson and Michael Dismuke. Well, yay. I'd very much appreciate your technology and experiences. Well, thank you, man. It's always great to, as I say, some people might have been miffed about this, but I was thrilled to meet so many new fans on the cruise who had no idea about me or what I did. Or maybe they actually knew me, but they didn't make the connection, which was part of it too. That was thrilling because it was like, oh, look, we're not boring people. I actually feel like I'm meeting new people, which is always kind of a nice thing. You're not just hanging out with all the folks you already know and being, like a social snoot about things. So yay, glad to have you aboard, Tom. Hope you can make it almost every Tuesday. Duralta says, and we all know what happens if you do the black and white. Let this be your last battlefield. Yeah. Well, it's a lot easier to live in black and white. That's why real life is full of grays. And then there are the people that will say living in the gray is a cop-out, that you don't have. Of course, people have hard and fast. There's slippery slopes and all of that. But that's the world. The world is not black and white. I don't mean that literally. You know what I mean? That's why we have philosophy and all those philosophers that I never had a class in or studied. And the most I know about philosophy is probably Monty Python and maybe a little bit of the Philosopher's Song. Just being honest. And since it's St. Patrick's Day, I forgot to completely look. This is the greenest shirt I have. It's mint green, but it'll do. I totally forgot. Of course, 4 days from now, if people see this live later, they won't care that it was St. Patrick's Day. But still, top of the morning to yous. It's my Lucky Charms Irish. Since it's St. Patrick's Day, may I remind you, he was from Wales. Oh, really? His color is blue. How about that? Irish people do not eat corned beef much and never drink green beer. Here's to the spreading of knowledge. What's the Smithsonian say? To the acquiring and diffusion of knowledge among men, or something. Of course, the old being of men, being humanity. Hey, Christian, good day to you. Oh, Sean, as previously mentioned, I worked with Sean Farrick back in a bank about 13 years ago, so we now have that in common. There you go. Hey, Philip, I saw you were working on something major. I'm wondering how under you were. By the way, for all the Portales on today, tomorrow is indeed, before someone asks me, Cairo or Christoph, tomorrow is indeed midday European Ask Dr. Trek Roundtable. And then tomorrow night, finally, we're back on track with guests again. Harry Irvey, who worked in the art department of the end of season 3 and season 4 on Next Generation. An angle that and then went on to work in the games industry and animation and all kinds of things. But a huge Star Trek fan who got to work there as a bonus art coordinator and popped up totally at, of all places, LA Comic-Con in our panel audience and said, well, when I worked on TNG's art department season 4, and I fell off. I was like, wait, what? And don't you dare leave this room. It was a name I was not familiar with at all, and I can't wait to talk to him. Anyway, we have a double whammy tomorrow in Portal 47. Of course, Portal 47 is a subscription service. If I talk about these guests and people go, I don't see them on YouTube. Well, they're all behind a paywall. And that's why my Patreon letting them out, when I actually do it, is kind of a bonus. And that's been the model for 10 years. And I don't get any real world credit for all of those guests. That's a sliver. 12 a year for 10 years. There you go. Must hate Starfleet Academy. Frack them. I know. In a public job listing, totally independent. I know. Hey, Cairo, I'm neither in the U.S. nor do I hate Academy, so unfortunately I don't qualify. I guess I have to stick with my current work. The temporarily reduced pawn gap got you again 6 minutes late. Oh, Christoph, it's okay. Or you say, yeah, hire me and I'll tell you what I really think about SFA. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. What a notion, Captain. Oh, look, YouTube is working again. Hi, tubers and super chatters. Yes. Thank you, Christoph, for mentioning that. There's any number of shows I don't watch. RuPaul's Drag Race is not made for me, for example, but I don't particularly care that it exists or want to stop it. What's the modern change the channel? I know, but see, saying change the channel doesn't get you riled enough to linger on my video and get me more time. Yeah. My figure. Hey, Larry, and hey, everyone. Speaking of people coming on, my figure, you should check out everything over there and boost the signal. Has been having some interviews and podcasts too. We're in a little renaissance of behind the scenes, folks. Just wanted to stop in and say you're on the road today, so you're not able to talk, but I wanted to at least say hello. Well, cool. And I hope you have a chance to, I have particularly good soapbox today. In fact, everybody, I meant to mention, I saved before Facebook did anything with them, all the years of Trekland Tuesdays live before we started streaming, and it was on YouTube. And YouTube now it's cataloged from at some point, 270 or something forward. I don't know. But the first 3 to 4 years, 3.5 years, I saved off of Facebook. They're not posted, but one of them I went to retrieve and posted with a halfway modern title card. My piece about, and I talk about it all the time, I go back, it was number 72 from October 2018. The title of it was Russians, Robots, and Reflections, but it was about that USC grad student who did the case study about online noise and negativity and hate, and what it really boils down to, so you don't feel overwhelmed or like the whole world has gone to shit. And it was the first time I saw somebody try to do a case study with a methodology and a metric to cut all the crap down to size, so that no, the world has not gone in the crapper. It's still the same amount of people. There's just a new sliver of people who are doing this for money or whatever. And even then, it's not the huge, overwhelming madness that you think it is. Anyway, you go to my YouTube channel. Scott was like, why are you posting old TTLs? I said, I want to put this one up. I'd like to do more. It's very hard to find them on Facebook, but they're still there. Facebook did not wipe out people's old videos last summer the way they threatened to. But it was good because it made me get up and take them off. Anyway, on this channel, if you're on YouTube, you might see, now, it's 2018. It's going to be SD. It's going to be Facebook only at Trekland HQ version 1, the old place. And the picture is a little soft, like watching Voyager or DS9 now after you've watched HD Academy or TNG. But, and it's not as pumped as things are now. You can tell I've been on camera for a few years now, especially. But the points are there. And it was just, I wanted to have that out there because I refer to that episode all the time. And I thought it was good to have it out. And I meant to say that earlier. Maybe we'll even edit this in. Okay. Sure. Drive carefully. Is the normal 28 days of streaming data still applying for SFA? Presume they need to cancel, renew, and the sets are still standing, costing money. Guessing an announcement next month either way. I heard a little bit of talk, a little bit of mumbling on the cruise about not to expect a final renew, a go, no go, as they said in early NASA, A renewal or not decision until August. Now that's completely apart from, that was about just the show itself, nothing to do with Alex's contract or any other big picture decisions coming out of the new owners of Paramount. If we have all the new owners in place, I mean, up and down the line. So they're not owners. If the owners newly hired suits to handle all the different aspects that affect Trek, not just production. I am not a fan of year one plan from Akiva. Sean, I need to get back. My MailChimp is messed up. I have no email capacity at the moment, aside from regular email. And I'm missing doing my polls, but I really want to poll on this. I think of all the ideas out there, this is the one that no one cares about the most. And it's not that Paul Wesley is a bad person. I just think people want fresh Trek, not yet another redo of the Kirk years, especially the Kirk years in prime. We really want to, why do we want to compete with that? And why do we want to take our narrow bandwidth? If we're only going to get one series at a time, why not go somewhere else and do something else with it? Whether it's legacy or not. This is what I'm saying. We've told the Kirk story 4 times. We have 4 times. We really need another one. There's been over 10 Spock actors. Well, you're counting the kids that play. Yeah, there's really been 3 Spock actors. But point made. Point made. Sean, you are preaching to the choir, man. You're preaching to the choir. Go use the hashtag use the universe. Now what? What? Another Kirk show might please the Academy haters, albeit most of them seem TNGers. Okay. In the weeds of the factions. Happy birthday to Move Along Home. Do you guys know part of the reason why Move Along Home is so crappy is because it was massively cut because the pilot, it was like the 4th show, 4th DS9 after the pilot. And it was massively cut because, especially on set construction, and they shifted things down, simplified the sets down. Michael had to pillar because Emissary went so far, the pilot went so far over budget, as much as they loved it. Then they didn't punish David Carson, the director. They rewarded him by giving him the actual movie chance to direct with Generations. They thought it's that British accent. That's what it was. David Carson was an open house guest for Portal, the free show once a year for everybody. The free guest 3 or 4 years ago. He was awesome. Okay. Where are we here? Somehow everyone remembers that and not the storyteller. Oh, I remember the storyteller. Like, what? Yes. And I already told Mike Sussman that he stole 2 of my ideas or 2 of the things on my wish list and combined them into one, but that's fine. I've wanted the Romulan War founding of the Federation for ages, and I've wanted Star Trek West Wing political but not boring, because you can jump into any crisis at the moment. But it's a great way to finally develop all the Federation members and the politics and all that. And if people think that might be boring and they point to Star Wars, I'm going to point you instead to Babylon 5. It's not like it's groundbreaking, but it would be cool for Trek. So yeah, Cairo, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. Yeah, we want Star Trek, Starfleet Academy haters now, crapola, really got to me. I thought, who the frack actually wants this BS? Starfleet Academy's a great new Trek show. What? Yes, Narda. On one hand, what's the point? That whole thing. But the other thing is, like, you're going to go out and intentionally, and you know what? They're totally free to hire whoever they want. I should have said this in the main thing. They're totally free to hire whoever they want. It's just amazing that they're letting the world know. They're showing their hand. I don't understand the strategy. And then they didn't like jerk the ad down quick. I don't know. I don't know. On top of the whole point of like, well, that's not reflecting the, yeah. What was the out of the gate? I don't know. I don't know. DOS? Oh, DOS. DOS is a personal computer operating system from the late 80s, early 90s. TOS. DOS and TOS. Well, TOS was a character on Enterprise. TOS was T'Pol's husband for a while, remember? Yeah. And people thought that I couldn't abbreviate Voyager with Verger, VGR, because it would be confusing with V'ger. I don't think so. You got a 7-year series versus the entity of one movie. I hold the view, Sean says, that to know if I like the show or not, I need to at least see parts. Mind blown, Sean. What a concept. What a concept. Just a reminder that European clocks haven't gone back yet, and you started early, so the Germans will have to go to jail for the crime of being late or crime in Germany, that or jaywalking. Yeah, Sean, sorry about that. Well, I'm starting now. I'm altering the portal time. We're moving our European midday back an hour to match that, so they're on normal time. But sorry about that. This is the second or third week I've done this. Of course, they weren't on YouTube, so no one cared. There were only 4.5 people here. And thank you, 4.5 people who actually came on Twitch or Facebook or hung on. It's fine that some people don't like some details. It's even fine if people say a series is not for them, but a hate it, it's BS is not called for. Well, gosh, Cairo, what century are you living in? Sydney, hey. Hey, Sydney, I hope you're well. I hope you're well. I don't know if he's going to make it on here today, but I know Chris Garris had his hip replacement surgery yesterday and was on. He came on Trekophiles tonight yesterday, 2 or 3 hours after waking up from surgery. Of course, the big drug pill was still doing its job, but he was in good spirits and looks like everything came in. Luckily, you are Austrian, not German. We tend to bend the rules in the face of sanity. Hey, Narda, again. I think so. Academy seemed a bit lost. Tried to be episodic and have an arc, and it didn't achieve either one. Somehow had 10 episodes, but still had forgettable filler. Started so well, but very poor landing. Oh, okay. Was that? Keep watching. The 2-part finale felt fairly straightforward to me. I was just thrilled that they went 3D on we're going to cocoon the Federation with our Omega 47 radius effect bomb bubbles. Yeah, this is what psychology or sociology we were taught was called social control. Germans stand waiting for the pedestrian light at 3 a.m. on empty streets. Just go. Well, that explains a lot, don't you think? Hey. All you guys, I'm glad we're having all these meetups for people. Let's put a nuclear reactor in a car. Let's put radiating stuff in food because it's cool, damn it. Yes, there were interesting trends back in the day. This is from Atomic. The sad thing is, much like, say, making a sequel to Galaxy Quest, the fate of Atomic Cafe was very tangled in legalese and rights disputes and who owned it. But it's out now, finally. It's amazing. It doesn't have a narrator or a voiceover. It leads from one, and there's Chestnut. Now, it came out in 82, meaning that the world view that it's looking through is where things were in 82. In other words, the no nukes movement and trying to get Reagan from arms racing Gorbachev. The Soviet Union was still around when this was made. And it was the time. This came out in 82, and then the day after was filmed and out within a few months. And I almost want to say that Atomic Cafe it wasn't, but it should have been as big a cultural impact, a public impact as The Day After did in this whole arena. Yeah. Only place you ever live that's, oh, you guys. Oh, Christian. Yay, another Atomic Cafe fan. Yes. Yeah, I bought a copy when it was so hard to track. You know what I'm talking about. I think I didn't realize at the time, but I think years down the line, that's what's affected me the most. As far as documentaries and my own documentary, yeah. They used to paint glow-in-the-dark dials with radium in the 20s, and the painters licked their brushes all day and then had, when their jaws started falling off from the cancer, it was the uranium paint. Yep, absolutely. Marie Curie, well, obviously Marie Curie, who'd worked with it before understanding what radiation was doing. The fact that the generations old and new are loving the use is pointless. The use, not sure what you mean there, Alan. Yeah, Cairo, we knew that. To be so blunt and put it in the ad was, yes, that's the point here. There you go. But see, Christoph is Austrian, not German. Captain Calvin, you so would like to write a letter of application for that job, only to write, I'm not talking smack against SFA until I've seen the show and I know it's good or bad. You get one thing from me, giant freaking robot. Honestly, if it's good, I say it's good. If it's bad, I say, what a concept. What a concept. It's almost as if you are reviewing the show. Yeah. The must-hate Starfleet Academy really took me aback. I thought, who the frack thinks this? Shut up. Who thinks this shit up? Even if people don't like SFA, is there any real need to hate a show that they know many do enjoy? And there's 10 more episodes coming at least. I sometimes wonder if, as a YouTube nobody, if you, as a YouTube nobody, should open a channel, open Channel D, and put a why I hate SFA and a why I love SFA video up and compare their performance. We call that an A/B test. Cairo. Yeah. Just glad that Gina and Zoe felt the love from us on the Trek cruise. Absolutely, Wanda. Last month, they saw the real Trek fans and know how much we love them. And and I would say, again, convention fandom and cruise fandom is in that, but that's people that have the money to get to a convention, much less the people that have money to get to a cruise. And yet that's leaps and bounds away from totally anonymous online fandom where you can't track numbers. You can't track one ID is actually 10 different accounts that are multiplying because they can. To actually see human beings and not see any of that crap there. For the new casts that haven't been, talk to any of the older legacy casts and the Discovery people now too. Yeah. I think over in SEO world, you call it great minds. Yes. Of course, in the hate video, I would need to rant more about the people bashing it than about the show itself. Define the hate target here. That's what we're saying. And the love video is going to say, oh, that's all going to be awesome. By the way, before I get Portal 47 ADT Europe edition still on for tomorrow. Yes. As I said before, Christoph, I'll adjust it for the small audience of that. So we'll keep you still at 8 p.m. It'll just be at 1 o'clock for me. It'll be 1 to 3 for me. Yes, indeed. Hey, PJ's first channel. Is this your first time with us? You don't like Academy, but the homophobic attitudes toward JDim are disgusting. I'm glad there are those who enjoy the series. Well, when you say you don't like Academy, you mean you still watch it? There's just more minuses than pluses for you, or you don't watch it at all? That's because that's a spectrum. That's a whole long, outcome. That writer's going to get kicked out. Huh? Duralta. Oh, the writer who wrote the nuanced review of, the one that I mentioned. Yeah. You were a guest speaker at Hate Fest 2026. You gave a dissertation on trash talk. Okay, James Caserta. Are you kidding? Or there's not, damn it, I never do this. But you know what? Since nothing surprises me anymore, Vancouver, I never Google anything while I'm doing the live, but you made me. There really is a hate fest. It's a comedy festival. And of course it is. In Vancouver. That's awesome. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Now I know the context to proceed from here. And I think you've been with us before on Tuesday, right? And we've met, really, I think, in IRL. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Narda, every Trek show from the beginning, including your beloved TOS, has faults. Nothing is perfect. But that could be said for every show or movie ever made, but to sling hate towards it's just wrong. Well, yeah. The triumph of the will that Raffi did for Hitler is incredible cinematography, and what he did as a craft, as a director and a movie maker. Yeah. Yes. It's a shit. And, part of that, Duralta, is what I say about black and white. People want black and white. They want everything all one or the other. No room in the middle. No gray, no nuance. It's a shame that we live in an era where hate watching is commonplace. Why try to wreck the experience for people who want to experience something themselves? Christian, if you can crack that nut. Because they're getting paid to, because it's disruption, and some people have an interest in disruption. Yeah, I hope you appreciated my pinky in the brain mention there. Nerf. Journalism is dead. Thank you, AI. Well, not yet. It's not. There are ways of moving things off your CV without removing them. GFR is probably a trade name. Use the actual company name instead. Any employer, give them 2 or 3 articles you wrote about other topics. Well, yeah, yes, if you're really seriously needing to do that. Cairo, now the so-called AI is not to blame for the death of journalism. Actually, the overwhelming wave of LLM generated content could help people seek out actual intelligent writing again. LLM. I don't know if you know, but SG1. I was like, SGL. SG1 is back on Netflix and is anecdotally doing new show numbers since it was off the service a while. 10 seasons, 26 episodes a season. You can't binge that over a month. No. Now that's optimism. Books and other texts written with HI, human intelligence, might have better chances. What kills journalism is the unwillingness of people to pay for reporting because there's so much seemingly free content. And you know what I call content? Cans of applesauce. It's just applesauce. Slightly in the same way that Will Rogers meant it when he said it's all hooey, it's all applesauce. Also, online media have mostly not found really decent business models yet, in my own opinion, Yes. Same thing as the streamers. We are still fumbling around trying to figure this out. The hate for Starfleet Academy. Boy, Narda, we got you riled up today. The hate for Starfleet Academy takes me back to the Kelvin hate. I am not a Kelvin fan, but I watched it and I liked aspects of it, but it's not the Trek for me, but many enjoyed it. I made my piece saying the Kelvin movies kept Star Trek alive for all the mundanes, especially the Hollywood suits and the bean counters in their little bird brain, little limbic brain, reptile brain. Star Trek not dead. Star Trek still here. Even if it was once every 3 or 4 years for that decade until small screen could come back, to them, Star Trek wasn't gone. So, if nothing else, in the zeitgeist, among the hidden power brokers and influencers, if you will, it did a good job. And it was well cast. Those were my two strongest bits about the Kelvins. I was born to wear a straw. Oh, you mean not a tinfoil? Thank you. If that's what if I take you the right way. Hey, Chris, I was just talking about you a minute ago. Happy to see the YouTube stream up and running, home and getting watch getting to watch from your recliner. Yeah, I delivered a little update. I didn't know if you'd be here today or not, but and coming in from Twitch, Cairo says, let's see, I'm not sure where exactly we'll come out of the current generative LLM hype driven by tons of public money. Would you please say what LLM is, Cairo? I could look it up, but I've already looked up one thing. Positive Fandom 9088. Hello, nice meeting you on the cruise this year. Absolutely. You have to remind me. Is your avatar accurate there? Your cute little cartoony animation 3D thing there? Duralta, all treks except lower decks. Okay. You have no idea, but you're an optimist and you say if one markets the text written as HI, it might work. Thank you, Duralta. We're very proud of that. It was painful to put all that down actually in scripted form. And yes, the great Bobby Clark is great. Also, Mona is here. Hey, hey. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it kind of sums up the difference between Voyager and DS9 in the day. And still, the way I look at both series and having been there to watch them both be made, have a front row seat to those two. Yeah. Kyra, it was great to see him there at Vasquez 10 years ago from your experience. If you think about it, do this tour. It's great. Thank you. Thank you for the testimonial. In fact, I wonder if I should just grab that right now. Vasquez was also Bill and Ted. It was Roswell, and recall it was also the angry video game nerd movie. Yeah, and it was a lot of things in Star Trek too. And the video, actually, I touch on all those things slightly. Check the things and do all the sources. Very true, Cairo. You've had a good teacher. You've had a good tour guide, I think. Totally. Thanks for the scroll back needle, guys. Yep, and the end of the soapbox. Rob, hey, thanks for dropping by and happy St. Patty's to you too. Yeah. Well, Glenn, you got in just in time for the chat. There you go. Courtroom drama, where one life is at stake is plenty. Trial of Gaius Baltar, Measure of a Man, author, slow, tense, procedural. Oh, slow, tense, procedural. Like a short butcher, the stakes were too high for no reason. Okay. Someone's throwing stones at Earth. Yeah. Well, appreciate that, Narda. Thank you. Too true, Cairo. Too true. At least 50. That's 3 more than 47. And they used to. Now, I don't know if some environmentalists won't let them green up the river, but there you go. Yeah, double dipping with Portal tomorrow. Long day. Yeah. Huh. The Irish girl on, yeah, I can't remember her. You guys will know. That walked around with her buckle. So she wound up being in like 2 episodes, as with the rest of the bridge crew. How does GFR still get traction? They spin mostly crap that isn't true, and I have been blocked on any socials I have. Hi, G-Man. To finally see me live. I'm glad to have you seeing me live. Glad you're here. Yay. You could let us know where you're coming from if you don't later on anyway. Okay. I'll let you guys have the Stargate plot discussion. Enjoyed the cruise show the other day. The live video about the yay. Okay, good. I think it really got out about a week after it was live, but awesome. Very nice. Yeah. Tell us where you're coming from, G-Man. Chuckling at Change the Channel. It's right up there with the checks in the mail or hang up as the things you have to explain to younglings as they don't make sense anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Also, what's the other one about records? Like a broken record, a stuck record, a broken record. They have no idea what that means. Oh, and now we're in the asteroid discussion here. I know, Sean. I know. It's just all so weird. It's it's just sad and weird. And one of my friends was talking about Tatiana Maslany being too young to be Caleb's mother. It's like, really? Have you seen this one? This is the one that bugs me. Yeah. Alla Moraine, everybody. Yes. Haven't taken a poll, but I kind of think this is where everybody is. It's in general. Oh, hi. Hello, Elsie. Good to see you here. And yes, I'm thinking this is what everybody's saying. Oh, John Campy raid. Hello, Larry. All happy St. Patty's Day. Hope everyone's well despite Comcast, NBC Universal exiting the first run syndication business. Very true. Access Hollywood going away. Crazy. Thank you, Donnie. Narda, I know the youth of today want to keep rebooting Kirk and crew. They do? Do they really? New Trek, new crew, new places, and all new stories is what Star Trek needs to. That's what I've said since the 90s. Didn't understand the weirdness about Enterprise. You've heard me all rant about that one. Star Trek needs to go forward. Well, 2151 is still pretty much forward going. You thought the season 1 finale was a missed opportunity. but give all of season 1 a solid 7 of 10 times the Starfleet Delta. That's what I've seen. I've seen a lot of people say 7 out of 10. Yeah. Hey, Tube Spore. New around here, but glad to find this channel when the series launched due to the negative campaign against it. You're very welcome, Tube Spore. And again, I just say what I think, which I think is kind of human. I have critiques. I'm still not happy about the language thing. I think that was a an unneeded nod to a younger audience that they didn't have to take, at least to that extreme. But did you notice how they backed off of it as the year went along? Then they leaned into Noose Braca being the one that, as I said this on my second opinion. Anyway, thank you, Tube Spore, and glad to have you too. Check out everything else over at LarryNemecek.com and this channel. Did you subscribe to the channel? There you go, Chris. Another fan. Really came out of nowhere. Transporter room. Absolutely. If you'd been watching my channel, you would see the rise of Chris Garris the last year or so. Well, I think can we have United and Legacy? Can we have both? Very good. Like I said, Chris, wait till day 3 and day 4. But you hang in there. Glad it's going so well. Probably, yeah, because they use radioactivity. They wanted glow in the dark in the early days, and that's how they did it. There was talk of someone doing a Galaxy Quest, which seems like just 2 or 3 years ago. They'd finally undone the legal wrinkles, but that's 92 owners ago, and budget model plans and things. Yeah, Seth also said that a week or 2 ago, that it's written. They have a whole season written. It's waiting for his own schedule to open it, much less other people's, everybody's. The day after the film with Steve Guttenberg. Steve, yeah. Well, Jason Robarbs, BB Besh. Yeah, Steve Guttenberg's in it. It's just Nick. It's what Nick Meyer did right after the Wrath of Khan. If you want to find the rights holders, just put it on YouTube and someone will claim it. Yep. They could do an old and new. Well, they lost Rickman, Alan Rickman. Yeah, Galaxy Quest came out 22 years after TOS, 28 years ago. Yeah. Fancy that. You and your funny words and definitions. Oh, you caught me there, Duralta. There was an A-Team. See, I didn't watch the A-Team, but there was one where Ducky played the. Oh, there you go. Oh, stop quoting your Pollyanna Star Trek at me. Hey, Willie, good to see you too. Yes. Yes, Chris, giving one to back a shout out. Yeah. There is a Galaxy Quest documentary with Will Wheaton that talks about several attempted sequels. This was before Paramount's half of an announcement from a few years ago. I love a continuation. Yeah, I know. On the other hand, the Spaceballs sequel has finished filming and should hit cinemas in 2027. We'll see if Tim Russ gets Tacoma and other desert and not flying. I think that's a given. Any thoughts on the Wire DS9? Yes. In fact, I randomly stumbled into somebody doing a piece about it that reminded me how amazing it was. And it had that title before the Wire series, I think, because that was late second season. So that would have been, let's see, 93, 94, 92, 93. That would have been shot in 94, early 94. Oh, and there's an Eternal Hate Fest in Nersk, Czechia. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Leni Riefenstahl, right? It's the woman who did Triumph of the Will. Yes. Eternal Hate Fest is actually heavy metal. Okay. Yes, I Hate You from Star Trek 4. That would be cool. Thank you, Duralta. LLM, because I'm like, landing lunar module? Lunar landing module? What is LLM? Large language model. As a Trek influencer. No, I'm old school. I mean, sure, but influencer to me is a shallow term for people blathering on video. Now, I know that's what I may be doing sometimes, but we had words for this. Commentator, pundit, analyst. That's a little thinking, not the Wall Street analyst, something like a football color analyst. The play-by-play guy or woman, and the color guy or woman. Commentator, pundit. That's what I see myself as. So fine, I can comment on something that helps you get it. But yes, I'm totally trying to spread not just the existence of my opinions. Okay, fine. I'm not trying to convert the world. I'm just trying to share and evangelize a little bit, but I'm not trying to come up and, slit the throats of anybody that I can't convert. Just trying to put it out there, which started with, hey guys, the backstage people contribute just as much to Star Trek as the actors do or more. That was kind of a radical notion 15 years ago. And I'd like to think that's kind of, gotten out there a little bit. But thank you. That's all I'm trying to do is just throw it out there and then let everybody take it and run with it. I've got it in a nutshell. I wonder what it was, Narda. Kelvin Trek kept the show alive and brought in some new fans. I try to see the positive. I went through a year or two kind of going, when we saw I'll never forget this. We saw the screener at the Little Theater at Paramount. I remember just Dave Rossi and I just kind of looked at each other when it was nearly over. I'm like, oh God, what am I going to say in public about this? Well, it was a wild ride. Yeah. But eventually I came to see organically. It was incredibly well cast. And that was half the movie, was just watching them interact in those characters. And then the fact that it tread water for 10 years. And then when I saw actual new fans who became Star Trek fans because of it, I'm like, don't ever not. Someday we're going to have a convention. We're going to have a meetup, a Zoom meeting of all the people who became fans because of the Section 31 movie. Now, it might be like 47 people for the whole world, but there'll be somebody. Believe me, I actually was in a conversation text-wise with somebody who loved the Section 31 movie. And they weren't just a Michelle Yeoh fan who came over and ticked boxes. Just, it's another Michelle Yeoh thing I have to see. And I love it because I love her. It was somebody who actually had some points to make. And I was like, can I take a picture of you? Can I put this in a box? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Chris, and I didn't know if you were here at the beginning, so I just thought I'd pass that along to people who I knew would care. I didn't mean to usurp your news or take your place in your own, disseminating your own personal situation. I don't know if that was Bobby on the sofa, if that's what you mean, that commercial. He may have been retired by then. Large language model, or LLM, is a technology many currently hyped AI products are based or rooted on, one more or less. Okay. And hi to you, Samantha. Got to say, you like flashback, like trails. Yeah. You mean it's not an either or proposition? It's not a zero sum game? You like tribulations. That means you have to hate flashback. Voyager is more a steady eddy, takes less chances, rarely awful, rarely amazing. DS9 swings for the fences all the time. You could forgive the odd miss when the hits were so good. True. I can think of some really awful. You're right. Voyager is just blander. I think they got reeled back into the beginning and never could really break out. You were just saying last week, it's likely not a coincidence DS9 got better at the tail end of season 2 as the suit started focusing on Voyager and let the kids at home in charge of the house. And so that's kind of it. Rick downplays that now because they did go, there's memos of reactions to things, but that's kind of true. Geralta, do I know that sometimes my sound is a bit quiet? I just realized my mic is turned away. That's kind of weird. I hope not. I hope it's decent. Is everybody here? Has everybody been? Thanks for saying at the end of the hopefully it's just you. Oh, kind of a bubbling, gurgling on and off noise. Sounds like a coffee maker in the background. There is no. Yeah, Defiant, tough little ship. Something else young people don't know anymore. My grandson's age 20, didn't know what iced tea. Okay, how it has an iced tea spoon, you still put sweetener in your tea and stir. You may not be so formal that you have a spoon. You may just do it with your straw. If you're desperate, you get a knife. But if you have a long iced tea spoon, what? Grab a 20-year-old and tell him from his year of birth. Not sure. Wait a minute. All telephones had cable. Yeah, the first time I heard somebody say a corded phone, I was like, well, why do you have to say a corded phone? And I was like, oh, we passed the tipping point. Most phones now are cordless. But at the time, that was funny. And no one says, look, it's a cordless phone. That flipped. I had 2 very short stream pauses early on, and the audio level seems on the edge of dropping off a bit in the last minutes, but still easily good enough. Okay. I haven't had any kind of, that's interesting. I'm looking here. Oh, that's interesting. Can you all hear me? That was very strange. Did the audio change at all just then? My audio was set for the camera phone instead of my good mic over here. Oh, well, one more. Why are things getting bumped around? Set it and forget it. Hey, Samantha, well, you're not alone. You're in a very big club on that one. Yep. Sean, you know actors can play up or down a few years, but Paul Wesley being so old reminds me of Jack Crusher pushing 40 playing 20. Yeah. Honestly believe a pre-refit Galaxy would lose to a Defiant under Cisco. Defiant would keep strafing and staying out of firing range while the Galaxy sat there like Jabba the Hutt. Well, you had the moment. Was it the
Crap. What was the USS? What was the Galaxy class that got killed by the Jem'Hadar, and that was the whole point of ending season 2 on? Yeah, false choice. Why can't we not have both? Steve Gutenberg is only a star thanks to the Stonecutters and the influence of number one, who in no way sounds like Patrick Stewart. Boy, that's above my pay grade. I don't know. It's exhausting to me. It depends on who it would be. Do you film for 2 or 3 weeks and go, this isn't working out? Rewrite. If you're exhausted trying to get it cast right, I don't know. Okay, well, thanks, guys, for all this audio quality talk here. Can I just say how much I appreciate you saying Will Wheaton? Apparently he isn't happy about the whole Cool Whip thing and doesn't like when Dans do it. What are we talking about here? I have no clue what you're talking about, Sean. Or are you talking to somebody else? Did I miss this? Oh no, that must be latency then. Good grief, a latency issue. The Say Uncle affair. Very nice. And everybody's hearing it fine. So what is a small language model? Rural island. So when people say AI, they mean artificial insemination. An AI technician is a man who goes around the field putting straws of bull stuff into cows. Of course it is. A small language model is AI tech for Trump's smaller grasp of language. Oh, Christoph. Wanda, he was in the Trekophiles Tonight meetup last night on camera at 4 p.m. Yes. True. Yeah, the Giacomo music. Okay. There you go. And I meant nothing by that. I'm just going by numbers. It's kind of a universal reaction, Deralta, but I am not gatekeeping. One of the writers for Engage magazine, for the Trek Family magazine that you write for, Mona, loved 31 and wrote about it for the zine. There you go. Sean, you're getting older, Sean. I know. New Trek for me, spelled N-U-T-R-C-K, is still a term for TNG after New Coke and, Classic Coke. And they made fun of New Coke. Called it N-U-T-R-E-C-E, N-U-C-O-K-E, and that adapted over. Trek fans used it for that, to dig TNG. Move Along Home is called Chula das Spiel. Yes, again, Donnie, why do we have to have these false choices? I want both. That's very weird. That's very weird. Well, I've switched my mic now, and we will see if it gets any better. Your grandson called them long spoons. That makes sense. I totally get it. Didn't start until way into the chat. Okay, thank you. That means the main show will be good. Okay. Teens presented with a floppy disk and thinking it was a 3D printed save symbol? What's a save symbol? Oh, the icon. Yeah. That's funny. Where do you think the icon came from? I'm not going to go there, Christoph. Okay. Wouldn't call it a iced teaspoon either. Yeah, but oh, really? I am plugged in, right? Yeah, I'm plugged in. Huh. Odd. We'll check on this. Okay, I'll put it back to the now we'll go to the built-in iMac. I have 3 potential microphones here. Maybe that's just because everything's goofing around. Maybe that's just because since we're here. Oh my gosh. You ready for this? How's that? Excuse me, how's that? I'll just talk normally. The default sound control was down to about 25% when I went to, and now I'm on real. Yeah. Good mic, normal sound quality. I'm glad you all could get in the weeds with me on my audio today. And thankfully, we're way off of the soapbox. Okay. Anyway. Earl Hindman's character Wilson should be recast. Do you think that would work? Yeah, Odyssey, Yamamoto, and the D supposed to be aircraft carriers and never last. Thank you, Narda. Thank you. There you go. Well, did you see Will as part of the lineup that came out in memorial for, I didn't say a thing about the Oscars this year, but there were plenty of Trek effects. Oh, and shout out to Boy and Erica for getting an Oscar for K-pop Demon Hunters. And there arose a question about have any other Trek writers won Oscars? And I think Akiva Goldsman's career came for his Oscar for whatever that was, but also Harlan Ellison before we knew Harlan Ellison for Star Trek. Whatever you have the chance of watching the Say Uncle Affair, you should watch it. David McCallum as Ivan was awesome. That's funny. Yeah, Starfleet Families Magazine, engage. PDFs. Okay. Yeah. Yes, the brain bugs for conspiracy. Yes. Just now. Yeah. How about that? Oh, no, Michael. Hi, Michael. Audio only, black screen. Don't know about what's going on there. Was she? I didn't watch the red carpet shows. Very nice, Sean. School in your town last year had a supporting actress nominee, and this year had a Best Actress Oscar winner. Small girls' school in a small town, not a special theater school or anything. You saw the Charmings. Whoops. From Once Upon a Time. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh no, Michael, I don't know what to tell you. We've not had any video problems today. Yes, Duralt, it's the end of the chat as we know it. And we feel fine. So the audio is good now. Well, I went to the master control and somehow it had been flicked way down. Way down. Ugh. Well, guys, this has been fun. I think we've had several new folks joining us on YouTube. I don't know what's going on with the screen, but there we go. Hey, for everybody who came in on the second shift, just a thank you, just reminding you of thanking all these wonderful TTL folks and our live wires. This is our Patreon backers. I tell you, I keep it small for a reason, but that means hopefully more people can participate. Just $5 and $10. Patreon.com/Trekland Live. I do really, really appreciate that. It helps out so much. Also, don't forget, as we get to summer, and if you are out and about and traveling, please make it in for a TreklandTreks.com. If you're coming to LA here, spend a day. We will customize an away mission, 4 sites and a quick lunch for you. There's nothing like going to the real life places of Star Trek in real life. And you can drag along your cosplay, your props, your stuffed souvenir animals, whatever it is that makes your vacation what it is, your holiday, as they say in Europe, although half of them have nothing to do with holy days. Yeah. And yes, the Trek Files is on hiatus, but you can still find 14 seasons worth of our great, great in-depth 20, 30-minute episodes. That's all, with real live folks as a guest stars. We ended the year with, my gosh, Robin Curtis reading the lost first draft scene of Pregnant Savick, and then Denise Crosby reading her audit. We're talking about her auditions with her sides, and then talking about life since the Palisades LA fire. The Trek Files continues to be evolving. We'll be back with season 15 in a few weeks with the first guest already lined up. We have to record. The first few people are coming together. It's going to be a hell of a season premiere, one that I've been planning for ages. And if you really want to check out the Trekland Files, spelled with an F, community, jump in with, for $1 a month, you can join the Roddenberry Mission Log Patreon. That gets you onto their Discord board, and all the Roddenberry podcasts have meetup groups, message boards. It's the one big, finally official Trek Files meetups place. It's $1 a month, and you get all the other ones too. Plus all the fans who have some shows that aren't connected to a podcast at all. There's a Galactica meetup group. There's tons more. That's $1 a month at the Discord Roddenberry Patreon, separate from my Patreon, for $1 a month. Otherwise, gang, it's social media folk. It's Larry. It's Larry's Trekland. All the things. Portal47.net. You heard me talking about Portal 47. It's your backstage pass all year long for more in-depth Trek. There is no such thing as the post-con blues with Portal 47, because we're here all year long. Tomorrow's a double whammy day for me, because we've got the Europeans and midday Americans at 1 p.m. Pacific, and then at 7, it'll be a long overdue makeup guest for February, Harry Envy. Anyway, worked in the art department. Unheralded art department worker who was there when the show blew up. From Best of Both Worlds onward. Yep. And of course, quick shout out for our big 60th anniversary, the return of the multi-day Big Geek Nations tour, exploring Trek sites, commonly known as #LA2Vegas. The week before the Vegas Con, we wind up in Vegas. And there's a one-day tour out to Valley of Fire on the Tuesday, on Con Eve. Leave at 7 because of the heat. We're back at 2. Plenty of time to do all your Con Eve machinations, like Landing Party. Yeah. Everybody's so glad to see you. I'm so glad we were back on YouTube finally. The weird things of finding puzzles. These digital switches that get thrown like that, like this sound level somehow bumps. Anyway, thank you all for in the middle of a show. That was weird. But thank you all for that. And we will see you next week with a guest. Yes, indeed. Anyway, we will see you back next week, next Tuesday. Strange New is done, but if you're just now watching Strange New is not done. Neither is Starfleet Academy. And if you're watching all the episodes now, feel free to go over and check out Dr. Trek's Second Opinion. We talk about each second opinion is just if you had been sitting next to me while I reacted to the show the first time. It's just where my head goes, what I'm thinking about. And I make 2 passes. The first one is really meta stuff, and then the second one is maybe some broader pictures. So yeah, it's not a review show, it's a reaction show. Anyway, love for you to go over there and see it. But whatever, love to have everybody that was new today. And if you haven't yet, go like and subscribe on the channel and ring the bell and do all the things. Otherwise, gang, that's it for another Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. The Patreon is there too, don't forget. And if you're in LA, maybe it's time to do a Trekland Treks. Check that out too. Or just write me and we'll talk about it. Hey, that is it. So please, everybody going forward here, stay healthy, do all the things, stay awoke, check the sources, and yeah, Trek well, everybody.